gentlemen, from New York City, Joe Garigiola!
Thank you. Thank you. Kept looking around. I was thinking maybe Mickey Mantle or one of those big stars was coming in. Thank you very much. You're so very, very nice. And welcome to another edition of To Tell the Truth. Hey, I venture to say truthfully that few men in history have had such a widespread influence on both science and religion as did Charles Darwin. Now, his seminal work on the origin of the species was written almost 120 years ago, and you think about that, and I'll bet you can still get into a pretty good argument discussing his theories. And our first guest today is a direct descendant of Charles Darwin. He's a naturalist and an explorer in his own right. You're going to meet him. But first, let's meet this great panel here on To Tell the Truth. Here is Bill Cullen. Peggy Cass. Barry Nelson. And Kitty Carlisle. Okay, well, you're very nice, the studio audience. I must tell you that. I thank you, and I'm sure I speak for the whole crew here and the people out there, as they say in video land. You're very nice, too, and we're glad that you're tuned in to watch it because we think we got a little special treat for you today. Right now, let's meet a direct descendant of Charles Darwin.
Number one, what is your name, please?
My name is Quentin Keynes.
Number two.
My name is Quentin Keynes.
And number three.
My name is Quentin Keynes.
All right, listen carefully as I read you a brief biography of Quentin Keynes. I, Quentin Keynes, am a naturalist and explorer. No other land has fascinated me more than Africa. I have been fortunate in being able to film some unusual African wildlife. For instance, here are 3 stills of the spectacular albino giraffe. Albino giraffe. Here are 2 shots of a group of zebras. Next, a spotted zebra. Take a look at this. The only one ever to have been seen. Look at that. See him? A spotted one. Isn't that amazing? No stripes, spots. And on one expedition, I retraced the route taken by the renowned Dr. Livingstone. In one village, we came upon a 106-year-old man who claims to have actually seen Livingstone. I have also retraced the voyage of Charles Darwin when he sailed to St. Helena, Ascension Island, the Galapagos, and the Falkland Islands. By the way, it is quite natural for me to be fascinated by Charles Darwin. I am his great-grandson. Signed, Quentin Keynes. And we'll have some questions from our panel and some answers from on that side of the room. But first, we got some commercials coming right at.
The money store, where America goes for money, is one of the...
Across from you are 3 gentlemen. They all claim to be Quentin Keynes, the great-grandson of the famed naturalist Charles Darwin, and a naturalist and explorer in his own right. So let's start off with Peggy Cash.
Thank you. Number 2, where can one find the blue-footed booby?
The blue-footed booby, of course, can be found usually in slippers, and I have no idea.
You don't know about the blue-footed booby?
I'm afraid I...
Well, number 3, when a giraffe is an albino, it seems your albino giraffe seemed to be well accepted by the rest of the troop. Is that always true? I thought they looked funny on things that weren't the same.
No, they seem to like each other despite the color.
But now, number 1, on your spotted zebra, his one leg looked a little bit like this pattern of a reticulated giraffe. Is that so?
Well, one leg is slightly striped, but the main pattern, of course, is the spot.
And he has no trouble being accepted either?
No, none at all.
Do you know whether he ever had any children?
I don't know.
Thank you. Number 3, what was the name of Charles Darwin's house, and where was it?
Well, he lived at Down House in Kent, in England.
Thank you. And number 1, what was the name of...
Let's go to Barry Nelson.
Thank you. Number 3, if that white zebra, had a offspring, do you think it would be an albino also?
No, I don't think it would. I think it may not happen again.
What do you think the value is of that zebra if it could be brought to a zoo?
Oh.
It shouldn't be, but I mean, what theoretically?
I hope it wouldn't be skinned or anything, but I suppose someone would like to collect the skin.
Of course, yes, yes. I was just curious, though, what price they'd put on that, that's all. Number 2, when we speak of the Peking man, do we mean just a fellow who went to China, or...?
The Peking man, yes. Once again, I'll have to pass on that. I mean, the Peking man, I don't actually
Never
know.
met him, okay.
No, I haven't.
And number 1, tracing the voyages as you did to these various islands, why did you do that, and what did you discover?
Well, I did it mainly because of my great-grandfather's voyage. I wanted to see the places that he had visited.
Number 3, how long did that voyage take? I will not accept a
Your turn, Kitty.
I'll follow along on that. Number 3, how long did the voyage take?
5 years.
You took 5 years as well?
Both of us.
Both of you. Oh, I see. All right. Number 1, would you call the strange animals that we saw in the herds, would you call them a sport of nature?
I suppose they're a freak of nature, certainly.
And number 3, would they follow the Mendelian law?
I'm not quite sure. I don't think they would, no.
Number 2, do you know what the Mendelian law is?
I don't, no.
Gee, you know, I have a booby bird, too. He's not blue-footed. My booby bird is just a plain blue booby bird. Number 1, do you know him?
I don't know your booby bird, no.
You don't? No. Gee, I saw one once. That's terrible. Number 2, what do you know?
He doesn't know your blue booby bird. That's what... Bill Cullen.
Well, being a naturalist at heart, I certainly would like to get acquainted myself. Number 2, what was the name of Charles Darwin's boat?
Of the boat, the Beagle. That was the one he sailed around the 5-year trip.
Thank you, sir. Number 1, the Keynes economist, the famous Keynes, who is an economist, is he a member of your family or your lineage as far as you know?
I would like to claim so, but not in fact.
Oh, Darwin's enough.
Number 3, during the Scopes trial in Tennessee, Darwin, of course, was at issue there. Now, admittedly, that was long before your time, but was your family involved in that trial, or did they closely watch it, or where, let me ask this, where was your family at the time?
Well, I suppose they were in England. I don't know if they knew anything about it at the time.
Number 1, would you say that, too, is that during the Darwin trial in Tennessee, that the descendants of Darwin, those closely descended from Darwin, wouldn't have been aware of it?
I would think they probably were. You're referring to the Scopes trial.
Exactly. Having made the trek that your predecessor made, are you in complete agreement with him as far as the origin of the species are concerned, or do you differ from place to place?
Oh, no, I agree.
And number 2, where...
Well, that means our game's over, and now it is time to vote, and they're going to mark their ballot. And do you think it is number 1? Or do you think it is number 2? Or do you think it is number 3? And we'll pay $50 for each incorrect vote and $500 if all the votes are wrong. And, Peggy, we got started with you. How did you vote?
Well, number 2 didn't know about the blue-footed booby being in the Galapagos, and I don't think number 1 did, but number 3 knew that Darwin lived in Down House in Kent, and that's true.
All right, Barry Nelson.
I never saw a blue-footed booby bird, and I never hope to see one. But number 3, I thought, answered quite faithfully everything we had.
Okay, Kitty.
Yes, he was awfully good, but I think anybody English would know where Darwin lived. I voted for number 1. He's probably a banker, but he fooled me.
Okay.
They will.
Bill Cullen.
They were all extremely good as far as I was. I lean toward number 1, too, but then I do things like that.
Right? The votes are all in. Will the real Quentin Keynes please stand up? Aha! Well, let's find out about the imposters now. Number 1, what is your name and what do you do?
My name is Alan Nichol. I'm president of Lang Construction Services in Stamford, Connecticut.
Number 2, what is your name and what do you do?
My name is Mervyn DeWolf. I'm a Eurocurrency deposit broker with Lasser Marshalls in New York City.
Mr. Keynes, when you saw that albino, were you looking for it, or was it a kind of an accident? And hey, wow, look what we found.
No, I never saw the albino giraffe. I saw the spotted zebra. A man discovered both of them from an airplane.
Oh.
A friend of mine, a low-flying airplane, he was looking for locusts in Africa.
Uh-huh.
He suddenly saw these two strange creatures, and he told me about them, and I decided I must go and find them on the ground.
And you
try and make a film about them. So I've made a film called The Spotted Zebra.
That must have been exciting. I have to take some of your time to ask Kitty, what is the Mendelian law? I don't know what it is.
It has to do with blue eyes and brown eyes, and it's how it finally works out. If you marry a blue-eyed person to a brown-eyed person, what happens in the end?
There you are, folks. Aren't you glad I asked that question, by golly? Thank you, Mr. Keynes, and thank you, our two imposters, for playing to tell the truth. Thank you very much. Hey, let's face it now, I should know something about sports, right? Now, I have a ball right here. There's a whole new game starting up. It's called Broom Ball. They play it on ice, no skates, and they have brooms, and the edge of that broom, if you hit this ball right, it'll really zoom through there. And when these guys fly around the ice, it is really something to see. You stick around, because that's going to be our next spot. This is not a bocce ball. It's a broom ball. We'll be back.
If you have wrinkles...
Okay, now, I told you about Broom Ball. Right now, you're going to meet a man who can tell us more about this game of Broom Ball.
Number 1, what is your name, please?
My name is Tony Nava.
Number 2.
My name is Tony Nava.
And number 3.
My name is Tony Nava.
Okay, listen to how Tony Nava tells us how to play Broom Ball. Got some of my people out there, I could tell, yeah. I, Tony Nava, am a wing in Broom Ball. Just in case you have no idea what Broom Ball is, it has been described as a game invented by a frustrated housewife and an aging hockey player. Broom Ball is played on an ice rink with 6 players to a team. We wear suction cup sneakers for traction, and we hit a fist-sized black ball with a rubber-coated broom that is rock hard. Incidentally, the edge of the broom, in the hands of a skillful shooter, like that one right there, rockets the ball at speeds of up to 100 miles an hour. I play left wing for my team. I'm one of the leading scorers, serve as referee at many games, and for 6 years, I've been president of my local Broom Ball League. When you take all that into consideration, it may surprise you to learn that I don't know how to skate. Signed, Tony Nava. Okay, we're going to start with Barry Nelson.
All right, the old broom ball expert Nelson O'Hare. The number 3, I mean, it is kind of a comical-looking game when you see that. I mean, don't you get kidded about it a little? I mean, with the broom and the whole thing. Do you really take this seriously?
Yes, very seriously.
I see. Does anybody else wear suction kind of shoes in any other sport? Are you the only ones?
We're the only ones that I know of.
All right, number 1, why did you... I don't understand. You invented the game and everything, and you're president, and you never learned to skate. Was there some reason for that?
No, I didn't invent the game. The game was invented in Canada.
But even so, I mean, you're sitting there from the sidelines, and you're a big-looking fella and all. How come you never learned?
Well, because I was interested in playing the sport after I had given up football.
How many substitutes, number 2, are there in that game do you carry?
Well, you can send in a line. We have 15 people per team. That's the maximum.
It's kind of an obscure game. I mean, who makes that ball? I mean, is it homemade or...
No, we get all of our equipment comes
perhaps.
out of a Canadian distributor. You know, it's pretty hard to buy anything in the United States.
This ball says made in Canada. Usually it says made in Japan, but it says made in Canada. Kitty.
Well, I must question number 2. Did I hear you say rightly it's pretty hard to buy anything that's made in the United States?
Oh, I'm sorry. I meant it's hard for us to get anything other than a uniform that we use made in the United States. Yes, it all comes out of Canada.
Oh, well, number 3, a Canadian invented this game, I take it.
Yes.
And number 1, how long has it been in sports?
About 20 years, but just recently in the United States.
We never heard of it before, right? No.
I don't know. Have you?
No, not until this very minute. Number 2, where do you play?
Well, I play right out. It's Biddeford Saco. Okay, I'm on a Saco team right now.
Well, where is it?
Okay, that's just it's 17 miles south of Portland.
And number 3, is this played for money, or is it just for fun, or are you hired to play this game, or how does that work?
All players are amateurs. We just play for fun, but there are trophies involved.
And number 1, can you get hurt?
Buzzer, let's go to Bill Cullen, our hockey expert.
Carrying that on, then, number 2, this is not a spectator sport as we think of a spectator sport. It's more for the participants, right?
Well, we get a good crowd. We get as much as 2,000 people for a good game. You know, crowds do know.
Not bad at all.
Yeah.
Now, number 1, from what I could see, and I didn't see all that much, it looks like that either that you play by hockey rules or pretty close to hockey rules. Is that right, number 1?
Very close to hockey.
Number 3, is there such a thing as an offside pass in Broom Ball?
Yes, there is.
And is there such a thing as a 2? Do you use, I imagine you use a hockey rink, the markings on a hockey rink, do you not?
Basically, yes. We use a red line.
And when you're penalized for something that you're not allowed to do, does the man go out and take the 2 minutes or however minutes they give him?
Yes.
Now, you have to play then light. Is that correct?
Yes.
Number 1, the goalie in this, does the goalie wear any protection or anything like that?
No, the goalie doesn't wear any pads, which is different from hockey.
Are you allowed to ice the puck, number 2, when you're at equal strength?
No.
Are you allowed to ice it when you're not at equal strength?
No, we're not icing. Icing is out.
Peggy.
Number 2, why does your shirt say pastime?
That's Pastime Bowling Alley. That's our sponsor, and it's a great place.
Thank you. And number 3, where do you play?
Pardon me?
Where do you play?
In the Biddeford League.
Oh, number 1, are you from Biddeford Saco, too?
No, I'm from Fortune's Rock.
Where's that?
That's in Maine, a little bit south of Biddeford.
No kidding, I never even heard of it. Well, number 3, was this a French-Canadian game originally? Or was it?
It was French-Canadian, yes.
Uh-huh. Okay, now, number 2, do you guys keep your teeth more than regular hockey players, or can you get injured?
No, you'd be surprised. There's very few injuries to teeth. I wear a mouthpiece, but, you know, the strangest thing that's happened to me is I've fallen on the ice and cut my chin just stretching out. But other than that, I've been lucky.
Number 1, who makes those shoes with the suction cup?
This is also a Canadian firm.
Isn't it hard to get your foot off the ice, you know, with the suction cup?
Actually, you'll be surprised when you get up a little bit of speed, you can't stop.
Oh, I won't be surprised because I'm not going to do it.
Hey, that means our game's over. Now it's time to vote, and they're going to be marking their ballots. And do you think it's number 1? Or do you think it is number 2? Or do you think it is number 3? Okay, Barry Nelson, you got us started. How did you vote?
I voted for number 1, Joe, and I think it's nice that somebody's found a way of bringing the broom out of the closet.
Very boy. Let's go to Kitty.
I voted for number 3 because he looks like those soccer players and those French Canadian athletes. They all sounded great, so it's just a guess.
So we asked a lot of hockey questions, but he looked like a soccer player, and so you voted for him. That's wonderful, Kitty. Bill Cullen.
Well, they're all good. I like number 1. He looks like he could put you up against the boards pretty hard with a gray, so I voted for him. I want to stay on the good side of him.
Peggy.
No, I like Bruce Jenner, an all-around athlete. Here we have an all-around athlete. Number 2, Broom Ball and bowling. I guess my vote.
Well, see, I know who it is, but if I had to vote, those first 2 guys look like they fell off a Wheaties box, and the number 3 guy, he looks like the player. But we're going to find out now. Will the real Tony Nava please stand up? Cinch. Good. Yeah, all right. Let's find out about these imposters. Now, if you wanted somebody to endorse a product with Broom Ball, wouldn't you take a guy like number 1? What is your name? What do you do?
My name is Bob Brookshire, and I'm a reinsurance broker here in New York with Towers, Perrin, Foster, and Crosby.
Right, there you are. Oh, Bob looks like he's got the dry look, too. And number 2, what is your name? What do you do?
My name's Kevin Taylor, and I'm one of the managers of Rusty's Restaurant on 3rd Avenue here in New York.
Yeah. Tony, you figure this game is going to spread all over, or just where we got cold climate?
Well, it started in New England, and we're going to indoor arenas, and hopefully it'll be all over. Hopefully.
Now,
it is. We have women's leagues also, by the way.
I was going to ask you, do you play mix it up, or just you have women's league and the men's league?
Oh, we play separately.
Separately, Now, can you check guys in this game? I mean, like the hockey players?
Yes. You have a 3-step check rule, which eliminates running all across the ice to hurt somebody. You have to only 3 steps.
How about the brooms? Can you doctor them up to really stiffen them so they're really hard on the edges?
Well, I'll tell you, most people put tape around the edges to for longer life, and I've known people to leave them outdoors overnight to get them hard.
Be a little hard so they can hang a turban on you. Okay, Tony, thank you very much for playing To Tell the Truth. Thank you, our 2 imposters. Thank you, guys.
Nobody knows me.
And I've got a secret.
Hey, for some reason, I only have 5 seconds to say goodbye, and I'm kind of glad because it's kind of a different goodbye, and it's known only to us. See you again.
In addition to the Cash Awards, our first team of challengers will receive fashion jewelry from Sarah Coventry, who has jewelry for every occasion. See the jewelry of fashion know-how at a Sarah Coventry Home Fashion Show. Our second team will receive Turtle Extra. Extra easy, durable, brilliant, new Turtle Extra. The extra hard gel car wax, the top of the line from Turtle Wax. Speaking for To Tell the Truth, a Mark Goodson, Bill Todman production. Find out what some folks do to pay the rent with What's My Line and Wally Bruner next on Game Show Network. Your place to play along.